We all have happy memories of theme parks, the cotton candy, the music, the screams of joy. But have you ever wondered what happens when the music stops, when the guests leave and the gates lock? I worked the graveyard security shift at a park in Florida for one summer, and I learned that theme parks are designed to trick your eyes. They are full of hidden doors, underground tunnels, and fake smiles. And sometimes the things smiling at you from the shadows aren't part of the show. My job was simple: drive the golf cart around a perimeter and check the ride maintenance bays. The park was divided into lands. You had Future World, Cowboy Town, and the one I hated the most, Fairy Tale Forest. Fairy Tale Forest was creepy. It was filled with animatronics, singing mushrooms, talking trees, and giant fiberglass gnomes. In the daylight, they were cute. Under the harsh security lights, they looked demonic. It was 2:30 a.m. I was doing my sweep of the River Adventure ride. It's a water ride where boats float through a tunnel filled with animatronic animals. I parked my cart and walked onto the loading dock to check the water levels. The water pumps were off, so the canal was still and black. That's when I saw it. About 50 feet down the canal, standing on the narrow maintenance walkway next to the water, was a figure. It was one of the park's mascots, Benny the Badger. It was a full-body fur suit, orange vest, big plastic eyes, permanent goofy grin. I froze. The park rules were strict. No costumes allowed out of the dressing room after closing. The actors were long gone. The suits were supposed to be locked in the wardrobe department on the other side of the park. "Hey!" I shouted, my voice echoing in the tunnel. "Park's closed! Get back to wardrobe!" The mascot didn't answer. It just stood there, staring at me with those dead, plastic eyes. Then it waved. It wasn't a friendly wave. It was a slow, mechanical motion, just the hand moving back and forth. I grabbed my radio. "Dispatch, this is Jake. I've got a 1066 in Fairy Tale Forest. Someone's in a Benny suit." Static. "Dispatch?" Nothing. The concrete walls of the ride tunnel were blocking the signal. I sighed. I had to escort them out. I started walking down the slippery maintenance path along the water. "All right, buddy, joke's over. Take off the head." As I got closer, the smell hit me. It smelled like garbage, like wet fur and rotting food. The mascot watched me approach, and when I was about 20 feet away, it turned around. It didn't run, it shuffled. It walked with a strange, limping gait, dragging one oversized furry foot behind it. It disappeared into a service door marked "Employees Only, No Guests." I ran to the door. It led into the utilidor, the utility corridors that run underneath the park. These are endless concrete mazes of pipes and wires. I opened the door. The tunnel ahead was empty. The flickering lights cast yellow pools on the floor. "I'm calling the police if you don't stop," I yelled. I heard a sound around the corner, a giggling sound, high-pitched and manic. I rounded the corner. The mascot was standing at the end of the hallway, facing a dead end. "Nowhere to go," I said, putting my hand on my taser. "Turn around, hands up." The mascot slowly turned around. It reached up with its furry paws to the neck of the costume. It was going to take the head off. I lowered my taser slightly, expecting to see a drunk teenager or a disgruntled employee. The mascot pulled. The head of the costume came off. I dropped my flashlight. Underneath the badger mask was another mask. It was a homemade mask made of duct tape and what looked like dried skin. It had no mouth, just holes for eyes. The person underneath tilted their head. Then they dropped the mascot head on the floor. Thud. and they started to sprint at me. I didn't use the taser. I ran. I sprinted back through the utility tunnel, bursting out the service door back into the ride area. I slipped on the wet concrete near the canal, scrambling on my hands and knees. I could hear the shuffling, dragging footsteps of the fur suit right behind me. I jumped into my golf cart and slammed the pedal down. I drove straight to the main security office at the front gate. I was hyperventilating. I told the night supervisor, a guy named Rick. He didn't believe me at first, but when he saw how pale I was, he called the police. We went back to the tunnel with 3 other guards and 2 cops. The Mascot suit was there. It was lying in a heap in the middle of the utility tunnel, right where I had seen him. The Benny the Badger head was rolling on the floor, but the person was gone. The police searched the area. They found a small maintenance closet nearby that had been forced open. Inside the closet, they found a mattress. They found buckets of human waste. They found stolen food wrappers from the concession stands. And they found a wall covered in Polaroids. They were pictures of guests, families, kids eating ice cream, couples holding hands. But there were also pictures of the staff, pictures of the security guards. There was a picture of me. It was taken from inside a vent grate, looking out at the security office. The police determined that someone had been living in the tunnel system for at least 6 months. They had stolen the Mascot suit from the laundry bin and were using it to walk around the park at night unnoticed. If security saw them from a distance, they just assumed it was a prop or an actor. They never found the man in the tape mask, but a week later they did a deep clean of the River Adventure water canal. At the bottom of the water, right below the maintenance path where I first saw him, they found a knife, a 12-inch butcher knife. He wasn't waving at me to be funny. He was waving at me to come closer. He was trying to lure me down that dark, slippery path so he could use the knife. I quit the next day. I can't look at mascots anymore. When I see those big, frozen plastic smiles, I just wonder what kind of face is hiding underneath.